Well, good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a great start to your day. A little bit early this morning, and I hope that didn't throw too many folks off. Wait for a few people to come on here. Carrie, how are you? And just making sure everyone can see me and hear me. Here we go. Brahim, good morning. Laura and Nativity, how are you? And Rosalinda, Niagara Falls, and Rosa and Jordan, good morning. And Sandra, are you guys doing good? Carol, we're gonna get going because I gotta get going. And hope you're doing all right here, Laura and Rachel. Here we go. Folks, you guys are great. Thanks for coming on. I know it's early. Just the way things are happening right now. And Maria, Wendy, and Yolande, bonjour. And Serpa, good morning. And Peggy. And Agnes. Okay, Donna. Hello, Bruno. We're going to do some question and answers, okay? And Beverly, how are you? And Nativity says, and thank you, and how am I doing? I'm doing good. Sherry, Frida, okay. Here's a question. Can Dr. Martin talk about the herpes virus? Well, I've talked about that in the past, obviously. There's all sorts of different herpes viruses, right? And herpes simplex, cold sore, herpes zoster, which is shingles, and HIV, that you can get a herpes venereal type of disorder. Generally, the herpes virus is not a dangerous virus. You get the chicken pox when you're a kid, and now you have immunity. You get the chicken pox, and your body puts that virus to sleep. It's not gone. It's asleep. It's latent. It's dormant. And I'm going to tell you something that is almost universal when it comes to the herpes virus. It will not raise its ugly head unless two things happen. One, your immune system goes down, and I'm not saying you have no immunity, but your immune system is suppressed, number one. And number two, you're under stress. Cortisol, okay, over a period of time. Again, if I come behind you and scare you, that's adrenaline and cortisol. Cortisol is longer lasting, and your body's made for that. No problem. The problem is if that stays on. Cortisol suppresses the immune system, because think of it, when you are in a state of fight and flight, your body's not thinking about immunity. It's thinking about fighting or running. And that has a major effect on the immune system. Has a major effect on heart. Has a major effect on cancer. And I believe that, well, I've seen it over the years, that virus will raise its ugly head. So it's usually the herpes virus when it, you notice that with people that get cold sores, okay? Like herpes simplex. It's usually a combination of things. That they're stressed. And when they get shingles, it's usually a perfect storm. Suppressed immunity, and stress. It's a bad combination, okay? So, the idea, of course, is to keep your immune system strong. And, Belle was asking that question, by the way. Thank you, Belle, for the question. We appreciate it. Marilyn, does having carbs in the evening affect my blood pressure in the AM? Well, if you only do it once, it might. Look, let me make a general principle. Carbohydrates are going to be sugars rapidly, okay? Carbs, and some are faster than others in terms of how fast they become sugars and how much insulin you need. Insulin resistance is one of the major causes of high blood pressure. So if you're having carbs at night, it could have an effect on your blood pressure. But the idea is to understand that carbs, at the end of the day, look, during the reset, of course, you're having zero carbs. But afterwards, if you're eating low carb, I mean, not a lot of them, it really has a very, very positive effect on your blood pressure. It really does, on your blood sugar, on your blood pressure, on your triglycerides, on your HDL. Marilyn, I would tell you, just to be more specific to you got to figure that out, and I'm not big on monitoring your blood pressure all the time. I'm really not. I don't like when people, well, look, if you got you just had a heart attack or whatever and you're monitoring but don't monitor it every 5 minutes. Don't do that with your blood sugar, and don't do it with your blood pressure. You want to get your blood pressure up? Monitor it all the time. Because stress has a major effect on that. People would come in, they had books. Can I show you my blood pressure? I just did it in the office. Well, can I show you my history? No. I don't want to look at your pages. Are you on medication for high blood pressure or whatever? Okay. I just took your blood pressure. Anyway, I got little pet peeves in the world, and that's one of them. And look, I'm not telling you not to check your blood pressure. I'm telling you, don't over-check it. Okay? Don't over-check it. Dr. Martin, what do you think about homemade prosciutto? No, I didn't even know if I said that right, but I know that's Italian meat, ham. What do I think about it? I love it. Anything the Italians make, I like, including pasta. Okay? But you don't have pasta, of course, on the reset, right? You don't. But the Italian meats, excellent. Great choice. Eggs, meat, and cheese. Go for it. Enjoy. And don't listen to the nonsense that stuff is not good for you. It's all nonsense. It's an agenda. And you guys know better than that. It's an agenda to get rid of meat. Oh, it's acidic. Oh, meat, that's cancer. Yeah, brought to you by Kellogg's. Okay? It's an agenda, guys. You just have to understand that. Okay? And Coleman, is ALS an autoimmune disease? Yes, I believe ALS is autoimmune. I believe ALS starts in the gut. It starts with leaky gut. I think one of the biggest reasons we see such an increase in autoimmune diseases of all kinds, and ALS, is it characterized as an autoimmune? Probably not. But at the end of the day, or the start of the day, there's a connection to the gut, leaky brain, and leaky neurological system. I have no doubt in my mind that Parkinson's ALS is again, these are MS. These are perfect storms. I'm a perfect storm guy. You know, why does one person get ALS? The first question I ask myself is, why is it so prevalent today? Why did we see so much more of Parkinson's and ALS and MS? Why is there such an increase in it? That's the first question that I ask, okay? And then we go and we start looking at things that saved people's lives, like antibiotics. Wonderful. But I preached this for over 40-something years. I've been preaching this. Antibiotics are a double-edged sword. They will kill an infection. The problem is they kill all your good guys, and then you get the invasion of the third army called yeast or fungus. And the perfect storm is when that travels through your bloodstream, get into the brain, into the neurological system, and and then you add chemicals. What are we at? 100,000 chemicals since the World War II, and the vast majority of them are in our homes. They're in the soil. They're in the air. You're not getting away from it. But like I said, perfect storm. For some, okay, antibiotics. Because, guys, one of the things that I used to do was ask questions. You did not see me in my office unless you filled out the questionnaire would take you a half an hour to fill out. Okay? And the reason is because I wanted to know your history. I wanted to know what happened as a child. I even wanted to know how you got delivered. You know, naturally or C-section. Okay? Because that made a difference to me. Because, again, I'm a big guy on leaky gut. Way before people even talked about it, I was a big guy on it because I saw the effects of antibiotics down the road consistently. People were not taking probiotics. They were not replacing their friendly bacteria, and they would get a fungal infection. Now, listen, we talk about this all the time. Leaky gut. For different people, different strokes for different folks. Okay? I think that's a song. Now, what do I mean by that? You have a disruption of your microbiome in the gut, mostly in the gut. You got 3 pounds of bacteria, not billions of bacteria, trillions. Good guys, bad guys. And when that gets disrupted, your ecosystem inside your body gets disrupted. That is, it doesn't happen immediately because people think leaky gut, oh, I don't have no digestive trouble. But when I did my work on chronic fatigue syndrome, when I did my thesis on chronic fatigue syndrome, there was a consistent, almost 100% of people that got chronic fatigue had a history of antibiotics as a child or 5 years even in advance of symptoms of chronic fatigue. Recurring ear infections, recurring bladder infections, that kind of infection. And you know what? You're a kid. You're taking antibiotics. You got an earache. Of course, right? Most of them are viral, by the way. They're not bacterial. Sore throat, recurring, right? And, you know, then you take antibiotics. You have no idea of the double-edged sword that is. So, down the road, because of this disruption, you know, you remember have gun will travel? Okay, I'm going to tell you about my childhood. Okay, Paladin. No, but you have a yeast. Look, a yeast in your large intestine, okay? You have a little bit of yeast in your large intestine. That's all right. It ain't going to hurt you. It's not going to bother you. Really won't. Until it gets into the small intestine. Remember what I've called SIBO? We changed the name officially at the Martin Clinic to call it SIFO, small intestine fungal overgrowth. How do you get that? Major culprit is antibiotics, the major culprit. And please don't, leave and say, oh, Dr. Martin said never take an antibiotic. Please, I never said that. I never will say it. Antibiotics will save your life if you need them. Okay, so please, it's one of the greatest discoveries in medicine, are antibiotics. The problem is, I'm telling you, it's a major two-edged sword. So, now you get an overgrowth in the small intestine. Now, what happens in the small intestine? You have a little barrier there between your blood and your gut. And if your barrier is there, you have border guards there. They keep out any garbage out of your bloodstream. They're there for your protection. What happens if that is compromised? The border, and I've told you, I like using analogies. The Canadian-American border. Just try and get across there. Good luck with that. Okay? You got border guards there, and they're pretty miserable most of the time. Not all the time, of course, but hey, you know what? Let me see your passport. Where are you going? When are you coming back? Okay? But now look, I don't want to get political, but this is just a fact. Go to the southern border of the United States, and people just walk across. You see, that's the illustration I use for leaky gut. What does that mean? In the small intestine, they're just walking across if you don't have border guards. So what do? Yeast gets into the bloodstream. And I remember physicians, that Dr. Martin, what a quack. You can't get yeast in your bloodstream. You can't have a fungus in your bloodstream. That's deadly. And I used to say, yeah, it's deadly, but it's slow death. It's slow death. Because once it travels in your bloodstream, can go to your skin, can go to your lungs, leaky gut, leaky lungs, leaky gut, leaky joints, rheumatoid arthritis, leaky gut, leaky brain. Yeast gets into the brain, not good. I'm big on MS. I was big on chronic fatigue syndrome. It was part of it. Gave you brain fog. And, it could affect you neurologically. ALS, Parkinson's. You know what they found in Parkinson's? 75-80% of people that had Parkinson's on autopsy found fungal infection or yeast infection in the brain. True story. So that's what I'm saying. Okay? That's what I'm saying. So, is ALS, Coleman, an autoimmune disease? To some extent, that's what autoimmune is. When your body overreacts to either yeast or stuff that ordinarily it wouldn't bother you, your body overreacts to it. That's autoimmune. Okay? Now, I went down a real long rabbit trail, but that's all right. At least it's all right for me. Okay. Francis, can adding a zinc supplement help with clinical depression, low energy? No. Well, look, I love zinc, okay? I do. But I want you to eat it, Francis. There's just some vitamins or supplements. Look, I put zinc in Blood Boost, okay, Francis? So to say that I would never give zinc, I just don't often. Like, my first choice for zinc is to eat steak. Eggs, meat, and cheese has all the zinc that you need. Okay, now, if you're really low and you got a malabsorption syndrome and this kind of thing and you just don't digest anything, then I don't care if you take zinc. I really don't. But I'm not big on it. I'm not big on, there's some things that I just feel you have to take. You're never going to get enough probiotics. You can make kombucha, you can, all these, foods that, yogurt and whatever for your, oh, Dr. Martin, that's how I get my probiotics. I said, well, good luck with that. It's not enough. We live in a different world. You need much more bacteria. That's why I'm big on probiotics. Okay? I'm not telling you you can't eat fermented foods. They're good. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, therapeutically, you need probiotics. Everybody needs probiotics. Your dog needs probiotics. Okay? Everybody. Yeah. There's a blood test for whether you need probiotics or not. Prick your finger. If the blood comes out red, you need probiotics. How's that? Everybody. Your kids, your dog, you. Okay? And I mean it. We live in a kind of world where you need it. Okay? So, zinc, I'd rather you eat your zinc. Vitamin A, you know how much I love vitamin A, your invisible mask. I'd rather you eat it. If you eat vitamin S steak, you get vitamin A. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah. But look, again, if you do take a supplement of it, okay, good for you. But like I said, I'm not that huge on there, okay? Francis had a second question. Dr. Martin, talk about uric acid crystals, please. But listen, I am going to do a whole program on uric acid, okay? Now, uric acid, everybody makes uric acid. Everybody. It's a byproduct of your metabolism. Everybody makes uric acid. And it's a byproduct, by the way, of fructose. Okay? But everybody does. The problem in high levels of uric acid is your body is not converting all of it to urea, and you're not peeing it all out. So, what are the problems with that? One, a lot of people, they live on fructose. I've talked about this many a time. The worst thing you can do for high levels of uric acid is to drink fructose. It's to drink it. The worst thing you can do is to drink fruit. God wanted you to eat fruit, not drink it. And if you have a soda, one of the worst things that have happened. Look, Coke wasn't good when I was a kid, okay? It never was good for you. Although they used to tell you it was, A Coca-Cola or Pepsi-Cola was never good for you because it was full of sugar. But the worst thing that happened is that they changed the sugars to high fructose corn syrup. Man-made sugar. And sugar is not honey. And honey is a fructose. But what I'm saying is, high fructose corn syrup is man-made. It is the Frankenstein of sugars. It is ballooning uric acid levels today. And that's why we see so much uric acid. But I'm going to do a whole teaching on this, okay? Just to give you the mechanism of uric acid, because it's a big problem today. It really is. A lot of people, they have high levels of uric acid, and that can give you high blood pressure. It can affect your brain. Sure, people think, well, uric acid is gout, but it's much more than just gout. Okay? A lot of people have sore joints. They don't realize they have high levels of uric acid. Nobody's checking it. Okay? So that's a very, very good question. But listen, guys, the end of the day, here's what you do. Drink water. Because where you get rid of uric acid and those waste products is kidneys. And kidneys are Niagara Falls. You need to flush, flush, flush. Okay? You need to flush, flush, flush out those kidneys. Switch your drinking. Here's what you drink for your health. You don't drink almond milk for your health. I'm sorry, you just don't. It's not good for you. Don't drink it. You want to have a few almonds? Wait till after the reset and have a few almonds. Don't drink it. It's a nut drink for nuts. No, I don't like nut drinks. Drink cream. Okay? I don't even want you drinking that unless you're putting it in Dr. Martin's Perfect Smoothie. Okay? Like put a little bit of cream in your coffee. But I want you to drink water, and only water is water. And I want you to drink coffee. I'll allow you a tea for you little teetotalers. Okay? But it's not coffee. Coffee's got 1,000 phytonutrients, and coffee, listen to what I'm going to say, okay, is going to helps get rid of uric acid. Okay? How do you like that? Okay. Guys, this is a shortened version. We got a lot of other questions. We'll take care of that this week. Hey, I love you guys. We'll talk to you soon.